Hi, my name is Bob Carroll. I'm the Executive Vice President at Permanent Solutions Labor Consultants, and I'm here to share some words of wisdom on this cold Monday morning here in Detroit. We're dealing with the polar vortex, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop what I want to do, and I want to get a message out to you. And over the weekend, I was thinking about how we concentrate on how to stay union free and how to keep morale up with your employees. But I think it's also important that you know and understand how you can lose a campaign. Now, we're very proud of our record. We haven't had that problem. But if you look at other campaigns and some of the instances that happened during our campaigns where we had near catastrophic failures that we had to overcome, we can learn a lot. First of all, you have to care. You have to care about the process. You have to care that your employees want to join a union. You have to care about the quality of the product or the services you're delivering. If you don't care about these things, your employees are going to see right through it, and they are going to be driven towards the union. You have to be invested in the process, and it is a process. When you go through a union campaign, there are certain things that you can and cannot do. You have got to follow the process and trust it. One of the biggest and the hardest things is facing your demons. Trust me, if you have a union campaign, you have demons in your building. You have to look in the mirror and recognize those demons and deal with it directly. You can't run from it. Don't put your head under the rug, bury it in the sand. You have demons. And until you get rid of that problem, you won't get rid of the union. Your employees will never see the light. They will never understand that there is an alternative to joining the union, and that is working together and bridging the gap between the employees and management. You have to be held accountable. You as a top leader all the way down to your supervisors. You have to be held accountable for every action and every word that's said. If you as a executive leader deliver a message and the message is delivered completely wrong by your frontline supervisors and you find out about it, those supervisors have to be held accountable, just like any other employee that on your team needs to be held accountable. One of the big things that I see and we've seen as consultants is it's very easy to take your finger off the pulse of your employees. You see, like a good leader, you're looking for new opportunities, you're looking for growth, you're looking for ways to make your organization better. So you're looking here, you're looking there, you're reaching for new opportunities around the country, around the world, and it's very easy when you start to pick up steam and take your finger off the pulse of the employees. No matter what, no matter how good you're doing, you have to keep it in your head that your employees are the number one asset you have. And once you lose touch with the employees and they know it, they are going to turn to someone that will listen to them and cares about their problems. So it's very, very important that you as a leader, all the HR people out there, all the supervisors, anybody listening to this knows and understands you have to keep your finger on the pulse of the employees at all times to know what's going on in your building. And if you do that, you'll be able to keep the union away from you because the employees won't want them. Why would they pay dues for someone that's listening to their problems, addressing their concerns? You're putting out a great product, you're delivering great service. They come to work with their head held high, they leave with their head held high. Why would they want a union? They won't. So some of the mistakes that I've seen, okay, we've seen some big ones, and these happened during real campaigns that we've worked that were nearly catastrophic. There was one day, and I was personally involved on this one, a real big campaign where, and they had legitimate issues in this building, a real bad breakdown in communication, attendance wasn't being tracked right. They had a lot of issues, mostly geared towards HR. And I can't fault HR because the corporate offices had a policy where you had to make an appointment, you go visit HR. Now, where the problem was the supervisors would be very harsh on the employees if they took their problems to HR, so they feared retribution, never made the appointment, and they lived in a constant state of fear. Well, we were able to work through all that. That was fine. And I set up a day where I had a large group of employees, about 10 to 12 employees, that had some legitimate, really basic needs that needed to be handled. And I had them come in a time set to meet with HR first thing in the morning. Now, nobody told me, but when I walked in the door, I went in, got these employees, and we walked through this locked door, because HR was actually locked away from the employees. And we walked through the door together, and there was a sign that said, HR gone for the day. Oh, what do I tell these employees at this time after I just convinced them they care, they want to listen to you now? Okay, it was a huge hurdle that we had to overcome, and trust me, that never happened again, and they understood the ramifications. If you're going to hire consultants, let them work. Let them do their job. You got to have faith in the process. It is a process. Okay, your consultants need to educate your employees. They need to talk to your employees. They hold meetings. They have persuaders on the ground that meet one-on-one and talk to the employees using something that we refer to as strategic empathy. Because not every employee feels the same, and you have to be able to connect, and that's something that supervisors should be doing every day, any day. If you know how to connect to an employee on a personal level, and you know about the employee, and you actually truly care, you're not going to have a union. But if you hire consultants to do that, let them do their job. You got to realize if you get into a union situation, you're in a crisis situation. Those meetings that we have to have, they have to be done. Means that we're pulling people off of the floor, which means productivity or service satisfaction may go down for a little bit, but that lack of productivity or lack of people needed to service your clients properly is nothing compared to the 15 to 25% cost of doing business when a union gets in. You got to understand that it's a crisis, but it's a short-term crisis. Separate that and think about short-term versus long-term consequences. Another problem that we see is HR is not allowed to get involved enough because they don't have experience, and you can't blame them. They might learn about unions in school, but face it, if you've never been through a union election, you have no idea what's coming to you. And it is hell. Employees are crying on the floor during some of these campaigns. Some become somewhat violent. How is the average HR person going to deal with this? And see, this is where the average mentality says, don't let HR get involved, let the professionals deal with it. Well, guess what? If your employees are at a point where they feel like that, HR is going to have to be there as that buffer between management and the workforce once the consultants are gone. And you have to have a mentality that you are going to be more productive, you're going to have higher morale, and your turnover rates are going to go down, and everything that you invested into kicking that union out and building a firewall between the unions is going to come back, and it's going to improve your bottom line. You have to have faith in this process. You got to trust your team. And most importantly, there is no law that says you can't communicate with your employees during a union drive. You can't make promises, you can't give raises. There's certain things you just can't do that people would be driven to do just to make the union go away, but you can communicate. And if you're not communicating with your employees and you're ignoring the situation, you are going to lose. And that's the last thing that I want, Permanent Solutions wants, or anybody wants you to go through. Thank you for hearing me out. Remember, if you want to stay union free, call PSLC.